29. We'll grow on. Surprise, the mic is live, everybody. Good morning. We will start momentarily here with singing along with our choir with the opening anthem, which is number 61, Lo, the Earth Awakens Today. Again. And I apologize for the gaffe because there might have been another Catholic song with the word today in there. That's why I did that. So, good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of... I feel like I'm really loud, guys. No, I sound loud from up here.
You're always that way.
Oh, well, thank you. Welcome to UUFCC this morning. Of course, all of you know that there is a holiday today for some religions, and holidays coming for other religions, and it's the official start of spring, we will call it, and renewal. Today, I'm Ryan Richardson, for those of you that don't know, and our worship associate today, and then we'll be joined by David Martin today, who appropriately for this holiday is going to be talking about the Jefferson Bible, and he calls it Surprises in the Bible. Whomever you are welcome here. Whatever your spirituality, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, you are welcome here. If you're looking for a church where we embrace the changing landscape of life, you may have found your home. We welcome you here in the chapel or online, wherever you may be. Please take a moment to silence your phones before the beginning of service. We will remind you guys that we are simulcasting online, so we try not to use last names during the service. And if you come up with joy and concern today, it does get broadcast, so keep that in mind when you come up. If you are a first-time visitor, we welcome you, and if you feel inclined to stand up and introduce yourself, this would be the time. Welcome, Abby.
My name is Emily. I'm also a granddaughter of Herb Levin, and I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome so much.
Hi, my name's Emily Levin. I'm the granddaughter of Herb Levin, and I'm happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Berenice, and I'm the daughter-in-law of Grandpa Herb.
Welcome, welcome.
And last but not least, I am the son of that man over there. My name is Emil, and I am beyond happy to be here too.
We are so happy to have you guys. Welcome. For our welcoming words today, these are from David, actually. It's less of a welcoming words and more of a statement for you to kind of think about today. Voltaire said in 100 years that the Bible will be a forgotten book, found only in museums. At the end of that 100 years, Voltaire's home was actually occupied by the Geneva Bible Society. So David gives that to us as a food for thought moment. And we will have our prelude with Ryan Smith. Thank you, Ryan. We will be joined by Lori to light our chalice this morning. I also have a chalice lighting this morning by Dillman Barker Sorrells for holy days on which we recall the old stories. For holy days on which we recall the old stories, we light the flame. For Passover, which reminds us of the courage and the strength of those seeking freedom in the past, we light the flame. For Easter, which reminds us that love is our greatest challenge, we light the flame. For gathering today in this sacred space, we light the flame. For the opportunity to be together as a community, to remember the past, to plan for our future, and to be alive in our present. Please join us in reciting, "Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another." And to give you guys an idea with the chalice, either the fans or the HVAC is just right that it's blowing right on the flame. I noticed that last week. So that's why we're having an issue. But thank you so much for helping us. Yeah, then that's supposed to be an easy lighter. That's why I bought it, right? Bring a 3-year-old, they'll light it for you. Our next song is number 1023 in our teal hymnal, and it is called Building Bridges. Very nice. Our opening words this morning are called "Love Brings Us Back to Life." Easter is a holiday of miracles. It is life from death, joy from sorrow, celebration from mourning. Easter reminds us that all is never lost, that the story continues as long as we are here to tell it. So gather up your worries. We are going to bury them beneath the ground and watch them transform into flowers of hope, pushing through the earth, reminding us on Easter morning that love brings us all back to life, calls us from sadness, from grief, from anxiety, into a world renewed and alive, filled with joy once again. I will be doing the Book of Life and Dropping of Stones. And I'm going to start with our Book of Life. So the Book of Life is a little red book, for those of you who aren't familiar, that is kept on the back table here in the chapel. And it's a book in which we can communicate our joys, concerns, milestones. And then after we read our Book of Life, we will have I will come down and we will have dropping of stones, which are here next to the piano, where you can do the same in a more personal, real-time sort of environment. So for today, I do not actually have anything in the book of life that was written today, so we will go straight into dropping our stones. We will try to keep our thoughts brief and concise, so I'll join you down at the mic. Oh, I don't have to touch it. See, we usually have one that pushes on. Are we, okay, we're good.
Good morning. 3 stones today. 1 stone of appreciation for Lynn Ritchie, the love of my life. 1 stone for my daughter, who I spoke to recently. She's doing well, and life is good for her. And the last stone is for you, my friends. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Well, I don't know what happened because I did email this in, but I have a joy that the UUA in Boston, which some of you may know, has moved several times in the last 20 years. I think it's pretty neat that the building they have, that the 3rd floor was really not being used. They are now housing 25 homeless families and children. So, and of course, they're also accepting donations of clothes and so forth for them. But I think it's pretty neat that our congregation, our UUA is doing that.
In the West Bank of Palestine, Easter is the major holiday, exceeding even the celebrations of Christmas. This year, like Christmas, there is no celebration and cannot be until there's a ceasefire.
Tomorrow, Monday, would have been my mother's birthday, so I'm just in memoriam for my mother.
Just a wish that my meds kick in.
My heart problems are, I don't need any procedures on my heart at this time. So that's good news. However, Gurio is in the emergency room now. He's been there for almost a week. And he is going to have another operation on his heart. And he's literally fighting for his life.
So I have a sorrow, and I know it's been a long time since I've had one of those, but many of you know I bought a mobile home in Venice in November, and this past week it was broken into. Luckily they didn't steal anything but 250 feet of copper wire. I am 90% certain that it was the previous tenant because she left her calling card by a spray painting, "This is my place," on a piece of OSB. So if you guys could keep me in your thoughts and prayers while I get Xfinity out there to install a home security system, because they're dragging their feet as always. But yeah, thank you.
I am a scaredy cat. I just can't take authoritarian possibilities limiting me in my driving, which the state has decided because my wife reported that she thinks I'm a crazy driver. I have no accidents on my record. But it's led to the possibility I'll lose my driver's license on Tuesday. It's the deadline that they've given me. The first filing I did with the state about why I shouldn't lose my license got lost. So they keep sending me letters. You're losing your license if you don't talk to us. So I finally filed something with them and going to file some more. But if anyone knows a good traffic lawyer, driving lawyer, I'd appreciate your sharing that with me.
Hi, I'm being lazy. I had to walk this way and all the way around. I just want to say I'm not going to be here next Sunday, and that's when I think a lot of our northern friends are leaving. And so I want to tell you how much we're going to miss you and how much we're going to welcome you back when you come back in October and November. We love you. We need you. Come back.
That's it. Oh, do you want me to push it down here? Yeah, no, that's not working. It's this way.
That's okay.
There we go.
Hi, I just want to say, David and I have been here for a couple of weeks, and we've really, really enjoyed ourselves here in Florida, and we love coming to this place, and we will come back, okay? My mother always said, if we live and be well, we'll do it again. So hopefully we will live and be well, and see you next year.
And I have one before we wrap up here, and it's for Ryan's dad, Rod. And we went and saw him Saturday, and he's almost to therapeutic level on his Cinemet, and I see the old Rod from 10 years ago back. Talkative, chatting, engaging, and it's the first time since his mom died 5 years ago. So I'm very happy to see he and his significant other are going to go on a river cruise in June from from Budapest to Amsterdam, and they're going to be 2 weeks there. So I'm hoping for good physical health for him because he's wanted to do this forever, and he finally met somebody that's an adventurer. So I give this for his health and for him finding Linda because she's made a big difference in his life. And then I place our final stone for all the joys and concerns that go unspoken that are in our hearts. So we have a special music with Herb and I believe Janet, correct? Both of you are together, and Ryan. Janet's going to do a solo with the spotlight today. It's called It Ain't Necessarily So.
It ain't necessarily so. It ain't necessarily so. The things that you're liable to read in the Bible, it ain't necessarily so. David was small, but oh my. David was small, but oh my. He shot Goliath, who lay down and dieth. Little David was small, but oh my. Jonah, he lived in a whale. Jonah, he lived in a whale. He made his home in that fish's abdomen. Jonah, he lived in a whale. Moses was found on a stream. Moses was found on a stream, floated on water. Old Pharaoh's daughter fished him, she says, from that stream. It ain't necessarily so. It ain't necessarily so. They tell all your chillin' the devil he a villain. It ain't necessarily so.
Wow, that was amazing. We're going to do a responsive reading followed by Spirit of Life. And the responsive reading is number 592 in the back of your gray hymnal. Obviously, I do the regular part, you do the italicized part, and it is entitled The Free Mind. I call that mind free which masters the senses and which recognizes its own reality and greatness, which passes life not in asking what it shall eat or drink, but in hungering, thirsting, and seeking after righteousness. I call that mind free which jealousy guards its intellectual rights and powers, which does not content itself with a passive or hereditary faith, which opens itself to the light of whencever it may come, which receives new truth as an angel from heaven. I call that mind free, which is not passively framed by outward circumstances and is not the creature of accidental impulse, which discovers everywhere the radiant signatures of the infinite spirit and in them finds help to its own spiritual enlargement. I call that mind free, which protects itself against the usurpations of society and which does not cower to human opinion, which refuses to be the slave or tool of the many or of the few, and guards its empire over itself as nobler than the empire of the world. I call that mind free, which resists the bondage of habit, which does not mechanically copy the past, nor live on its old virtues, but which listens for new and higher monitions of conscience and rejoices to pour itself forth in fresh and higher exertions. I call that mind free, which sets no bounds to its love, which wherever they are seen delights in virtue and sympathizes with suffering, which recognizes in all human beings the image of God and the rights of God's children, and offers itself up a willing sacrifice to the cause of humankind. I call that mind free, which has cast off all fear but that of wrongdoing, and which no menace or peril can enthrall, which is calm in the midst of tumults and possesses itself, though all else be lost. And that was from William Ellery Channing. And I turn the floor over now to Mr. David Martin. Oh, oops, sorry. I'm going ahead. Spirit of Life. And now I welcome Mr. David Martin with Surprises in the Bible.
Good morning and happy Easter. This is, as you may have gotten an idea from the wonderful music we just had, not going to be your typical Easter Sunday. If you're looking for an Easter feeling, let's just begin by giving your attention to Laura's beautiful artwork up here. Look over first at this side, and then look over at that side, and happy Easter. Okay. Well, the Bible has a complex history. Beginning as oral tradition, it became the depository of the wisdom of millennia. Numerous authors contributed to the verses, probably none of which were actually written by those to whom they're attributed. Many versions with greater or lesser variations were produced over the centuries. Despite many passages which contradict each other and common sense, fundamentalists believe the Bible to be the pronouncements of a supreme being which must govern human behavior. In my early teens, I decided I should read the entire King James Version of the Bible. Not a quick read, but I did it. I took it in as history, muddled, and literature, sometimes very good literature. There's an old joke. What do you call someone who's read every word of the Bible cover to cover twice? An atheist. Or in my case, an agnostic. I still don't know where the laws of physics come from. As an example of the muddled history, one need look no further than the first two chapters of Genesis. In chapter 1, the creation story, your dog's ancestors precede yours. In chapter 2, your ancestors precede your dogs. Look it up, it's true. You may not have given much thought to literature in the Bible, but it is worthy of your time. The words in the Old Testament are a written history of the best, most considered thinking of the time. Poetry was often employed. The parables of Jesus range from the simple to the profound. Joseph, by being sold into slavery by his brothers, becomes perhaps the most famous slave. But slavery was common throughout the entire Bible era. Even in the New Testament, Jesus in Peter 2:18 tells us, quote, "Servants, be subject to your masters with fear," close quote. Perhaps the biggest surprise in the Old Testament is God telling who should be stoned to death. The details are in Leviticus. Someone once said that the hardest thing to believe in the Bible is that there were only 2 jackasses in Noah's Ark. The ark is a real head scratcher. God commanded that it be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high, with 3 decks. Since the cubit was defined as the length from the elbow to the tip of the finger, and we all have different lengths from the tip of the finger to the elbow, we can't be too specific. However, to give you a rough idea, compared to a modern cruise ship, it's about half the length, a third the width, and less than a quarter of the height. Assuming it was just shaped as a barge, it would have had about 45,000 square feet of deck surface to fit 2 pairs of each kind. Oops, Genesis 2:3 says 7 pairs of some species. Perhaps manna was to come from heaven for food every day, so there was no need for food preparation or storage. I don't know. Perhaps elimination was to be over the side to fertilize the ground under the flood. It still sounds pretty crowded. Florence and I sailed here from New York in a 31-foot boat, and we could not have accommodated even a single python. The Old Testament is famous for its thou shalt nots, where the New Testament is famous for its blessed are those. Jesus noted the importance of laws and said, if you wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. Now, this talk was inspired by a reading of the Jefferson Bible. When Thomas Jefferson was president, he began a 15-year project of creating a personal Bible for himself that would contain the words and life of Jesus without any miracles or stories which violate science or common sense. He aimed for a simplified, consolidated version which would effectively give the simple ethical teachings of the Master. He was meticulous, researching the stories in Greek, Latin, French, and the Vulgate in English. Although he originally planned it for himself, he also thought he would use it to educate the Indians, the American Indians, but he did keep it to himself eventually. The original is now in the National Museum in Washington. In 1902, Congress ordered the librarian of the Smithsonian Institution to print 3,000 copies for the use of the Senate and 6,000 copies for the use of the House. Many printings of the Jefferson Bible are available at libraries, bookstores, and Amazon. The copy I read contained excellent introductions, a complete copy of the 110 pages, photocopies of Jefferson's work with side-by-side copies of texts in Greek, Latin, French, and English, and Jefferson's commentaries. Jefferson's first version was entitled The Philosophy of Jesus of Nazareth and ran to only 46 pages. In his personal commentaries, he was concerned that those who call themselves, now this is a quote, Christians and preachers of the gospel draw their characteristic dogmas from what its author never said or saw. Christ has said, whosoever 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he will be there in the midst of them. This is his definition of a society. Close quote. He does not make it essential that a bishop, oh no, this is still part of the quote. He does not make it essential that a bishop or presbyter govern them. In biblical times, women were considered property. In the wonderful book Sapiens by Yuval Harari, we are told that raping a woman who did not belong to any man was not considered a crime at all, just as picking up a lost coin on a busy street is not considered theft. There are some real surprises in the words of Jesus. While Jefferson said he was going to eliminate redundancies, some repetitions are considered so fundamental they do remain, as they do in the King James Version. The Lord's Prayer is repeated, some sayings recur. But there are real surprises. It must be remembered that Jesus was speaking to a particular time and culture. A large portion of American culture today is not prepared to go along with everything he says. Before I go further, let me explain that in the New Testament, put away means divorced. In Matthew 19:9, Jesus says, whosoever shall put away his wife, except that it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery. This was no small matter to Jesus. It is repeated in Luke 16:18. By this standard, there are a significant number in this congregation who are adulterers. Even the most ardent fundamentalists these days seem to find ways around this particular argument. This month's theme is justice and equality. Jesus didn't get the entire message. If you don't think his words are cultural specific, let me point out he made no provision for a wife divorcing a husband. Technically, my first wife put me away. So I guess I'm in the clear, because if there's no law against it, it can't be wrong. On the same topic, in Matthew 5:28, he also said, whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery already in his heart. Even Jimmy Carter could not get past that one. During his run-up to the 1976 election, he confessed, I've looked at a lot of women with lust. I've committed adultery in my heart many times. Jesus was trying to cleanse the Jewish faith of obstacles to true worship. He drove the money changers out of the temple. He rebuked those who would not provide assistance to those of lower station. But at least as recorded by St. Luke, he once threw out the baby with the bathwater. In Luke 11:46, we read, woe unto ye also, ye lawyers, for ye lade men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers. Even today, there are lawyer jokes and tales of horror perpetrated by lawyers, but there are also lawyers working to free people unjustly convicted, people abused by corporations, and targets of hatred. The Bible tells us to love one another. The Kama Sutra is a little more specific. I would like to end with a UU paraphrasing of Psalm 118. This is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Happy Easter.
Thank you so much, David. That was wonderful. We will be singing 1017 together, which is Building a New Way. And we've come to the time in our service that we give and receive our gifts. If you are a visitor here, there is no need to put into the basket. Your presence is our gift. Thank you very much. We've come to the point of our service for announcements, also known as Life of the Community. You will see on the back of your order of service that there are the standard listing of announcements and events that are occurring throughout the week this week here at UUFCC. You can also visit our website to learn more. I have a few announcements this morning, and the first one is that the yoga class, which is on Friday afternoons, will be off on sabbatical until October, as lots of participants won't be here until October. So they're going to suspend that for now. We are going to meet as lunch bunch today at Korean Kebab on 41. I did call and make sure that they are actually going to be open today. So we'll meet over there around noon or so. I have an announcement. From Joseph, and it asks, have you suffered from religious trauma? Recent research found that 1/3 of Americans have experienced this type of trauma in their lives. Today at 3 p.m. at UUFCC, the secular community is going to sponsor a talk called High Control Religions and Religious Trauma, and everyone is invited to join. So that's here at 3 p.m. And then Laura Anderson has an announcement that she would like to come up and make.
Do you remember we had a congregational meeting recently? Some of you were here. And in that meeting, we did not elect a president. The board met yesterday. I would like you to join me in welcoming our new vice president, Joseph Fenty. And our co-presidents, Laura Learman and Lori Douglas. I have an official notebook for Lori, so she knows what she's doing.
I did have one other thing that I forgot, and that's our monthly potluck will be next Sunday. We are going to do a theme on cookout, and so we have a grill that we've bought for the church, and we're going to do like meats on the grill, Impossible Burgers. Bring your favorite barbecue side, and it was requested that we do this so that we could show off the patio, the pavers, and all the work that everybody's done out there. So we're going to make it outdoor themed and pray we don't get rain. We will extinguish our chalice. This part shouldn't be as, yeah. Yeah. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May those ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go in now in peace. My closing words today are entitled appropriately Closing Words for Easter by Alex Holt. For all those who celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, may this be another affirmation of divine love and promise. For all those who see the eternal story of new spring and life beginning anew, may you breathe deeply of a season of promise and hope. For all those who are experiencing despair or hopelessness on this day, may you find in the darkness or depression a doorway to light and warmth that offers you freedom. For all of us, together we can do what no one isolated person can do, rolling the heavy stone aside that reminds us we are far more powerful than we ever could be on our own. I think the word together was supposed to be in there and didn't get in there. So we are far more powerful together than we ever could be on our own. Our offering of strong hands to help our prayers made real. Let us begin again to love. And our closing hymn today is number 269, Lo the Day.
Oh,
Thank you.